Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thanks for joining me, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. My name is Yewande and I am a beauty and lifestyle blogger based in Lagos, Nigeria. Today's video is kind of different. I want to talk about something that's really important to me, which is basically how I changed my spending lifestyle, how I changed my attitude towards money, and also to share with you guys some practical tips on how to invest your money. And I find that the concept of investing money is also something that's a bit like hush-hush. People don't really like to share with people what they're investing in for fear of, I don't know what the fear is, like people don't want people to know how they're making money. That's not the kind of person I am. I want to share with you guys and let you guys know what's working for me. So if you want to hear my story on how I changed my lao lifestyle, I mean, I'm still not perfect, but I am on my way there. Keep watching this video, right? So I've always enjoyed spending money on things that make me happy. I think that the turning point for me was really when I got married, and I basically, realized that I no longer could run to my parents for my day-to-day needs, right? So I have a husband who carries some of my financial responsibility, but on myself, I can't just be a leech in the home, not contributing to anything, and basically just draining my husband's own financial resources. So I had to think of what I could do to change my lifestyle without, actually changing who I am. What it is when you have money, saved up somewhere, you kind of feel more confident about yourself. You kind of feel more at ease, because there's nothing worse than actually you get paid 1,000 naira and you finish spending 1,000 naira and then you're down to zero and that's it. What if something happened? What if, God forbid, you fell ill or someone from your family fell ill and you need to pay for something? What if, life throws at you different curveballs and you need to have something for that rainy day? I'm telling you guys that I've only been actually practically and intentionally saving money for the rainy day in the last like 2 years. So before then, in my head, now let me tell you what I used to think of as savings, right? I used to think of it like, say I get paid, let's say my salary was 1,000 naira, right? And my company paid 1,000 naira into my bank account. I'll think in my head like, okay, I'm going to save half of my salary. That means that I would only spend 500 naira off that same account. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm going to use my ATM card. I'm going to spend it up to 500 naira. And then the other 500 naira, I'm not going to touch it. That was my concept of saving. And that's basically just saving yourself, setting yourself up for failure. Because you cannot have the money that you're saving accessible. We're human beings. Once something is accessible to us, we are going to make use of it. So I didn't understand the concept because no one actually spoke to me and advised me about the practical ways to actually save money instead of just putting it in a bank. So let's talk about going out to eat. I enjoy eating. I enjoy meeting up, going out for date night with my husband. I enjoy going out with my friends. I realized that for me to actually be able to save a significant amount of money every month from my salary and from my other forms of income, I needed to actually cut back on my lifestyle. The other thing I started doing was, I'm also a very impulsive buyer. Impulsive buying is the worst thing that can ever happen to you. There will always be beautiful things all around. You just need to have self-control, and you actually need to have a plan around how you purchase things. So what I started doing was, okay, I know that I'm going to want to buy new clothes and shoes, but how about I am intentional about it? So if I say that every month I will put away, like, for example, 5,000 naira towards buying new clothes. So it basically eliminates me just walking around and randomly purchasing. I'm actually planning towards my purchasing. Another practical way in which I kind of changed my spending habits was, I was having a conversation with my friend Vivian, and that's another thing. When you're trying to change like your savings culture and your attitude towards money, you need to be talking to people who are experts at doing this thing. Some people are professional savers. So I was having a discussion with her, and she just basically said to me like, these little things that you think don't really count, like for example, taking in your own lunch to work instead of spending 1,000 naira or 1,500 naira on lunch every day actually helps. The other thing is making little changes around your options at home. So I used to pay 16,000 naira for the full bouquet, and I switched it down to the bouquet that costs about 8,600. I kid you not that I have never for once turned on my TV and said, oh, I missed this channel, because what do I watch? At the end of the day, I watch like 2 or 3 channels and that's it. Meanwhile, I was spending money paying for over 100 channels that I don't have time to watch in. So it's one thing to change your spending habits, but what do you do with this extra cash? So investing your money means that you're putting your money in something, and that something is going to give you returns. So your money isn't just sitting down, but your money is actually working for you to get you more money. So the first form of investment that I'll say that is really profitable is something called mutual funds. And there are a lot of financial houses that offer mutual funds support to you. And the rates for mutual funds, at least the mutual funds that I do, is about, today, I think it's about 19%. And the thing about mutual funds is it's an investment concept where, you know, the investor takes funds from a group of people, pulls it together and uses it to purchase securities. Now, I'm not a finance person, so I don't know the technicalities of it, but basically how I understand it is they pull all your resources together and invest it in different things like stock options, like bonds, like treasury bills, all sorts. They do a range of things so that you're not limited to the benefits of just one thing. So this financial house invests in different things, pulls the money together, and everyone enjoys the same interest rate. So if I put 100 naira and somebody puts 10,000 naira, we're both going to enjoy the interest rate for the group. Unlike an investment like a fixed deposit. If you do a fixed deposit with a bank, your returns is dependent on how much you put in. But with mutual funds, it's not about how much you put in, but it's based on the investment of the pool. So the second thing you can do is also invest in landed property. So land, right? Because we all know that land, the value of land appreciates over time. But the thing with purchasing land, and I've been bitten before, is you need to do your homework, right? First of all, it needs to be a reputable company who you are purchasing the land from. The second thing you need to do is you need to make sure that all the documentation is complete. Now, that was the issue with me. This company is a reputable company. They're not a scam or anything like that, but they didn't have all the right documentation that would have given me legal rights and ownership of the piece of land. I found a lawyer, I reached out to him, I gave him all the information, and he came back to me to say, no, actually, the company was still in the process of getting the actual accreditation from the company. They were still in the process of making the land theirs. So they were not even in the legal, they did not even have the legal right to already start selling the land to people. I asked them, you know, to refund me. It was a very long process, but I was very happy that I was able to get my money back without 1 naira missing, because I was ready to drag them from here to hell. The third thing you can do is share options, and I think that's the easiest one. Like, even when I was young, my parents used to like purchase shares on our behalf. The thing with shares is there are 2 options. You can either go with, you know, a stockbroker who understands the markets, who knows the company shares that are doing well at any given time and can advise you and all of that. You also need to look at your company. So you need to go and speak to, if you work a 9 to 5, you need to go and speak to your HR to understand from them that, is it possible for staff to have access to purchasing the shares of that company. So every month I put money towards purchasing more shares, and it's deducted automatically from payroll. So I don't even get the money. Right? The best kind of investment is the one where it's taken out before the money even hits your account, because once the money hits your account, girl, it's so tempting. That's where you remember, like, you need to buy those Aquazura shoes, you need to buy that Jacqueline Hill palette, all of that. The fourth investment option that's also really good is something called Treasury Bills, and I haven't yet explored that option yet. I've just kind of been doing my research, but a lot of the people that I have spoken to, how they explained it is that Treasury Bills is when you are lending money to the government government at a predefined rate, and that rate is usually benchmarked on inflation rates. And the good thing about treasury bills is you can either get your return at the beginning of when you invest in the fund, or you can get it at the end. So the last option for investing your money is investing in a business. Now there are two options, because everyone isn't going to be an entrepreneur. It's not possible. So you can either invest in someone else's business. Now you have to be very careful here. First of all, it has to be somebody you trust. You need to have a lawyer involved, and a lawyer is going to draw the contract, make sure all the documentation is on point. You don't want to just invest using your mouth and say, oh, my friend has this amazing bar in Lekki and I'm going to invest 1 million naira, and between me and my friend every month you're going to be paying me an interest rate of 200k. Anything can happen. There are no checks and balances to show what exactly your friend is making every month. What if your friend says, oh, sorry, I cannot pay you this month? There's no, it needs to be very, very structured. On the other hand, if you have a business, that's also a really great way to get returns of your money. And I myself, I have played with a couple of businesses before. I'll give you an example. In 2012, I started a business called the Sandwich Club, breakfast sandwiches and delivering it to people. And how much did I invest in the business to start with? I think I invested like 5,000 naira. And you won't believe me, I did that thing for about a whole year. And by the time I was done, I had made enough money to contribute towards paying for my master's degree in the UK. But the thing about business is you need to be offering something that is of value. That's the most important thing. You need to offer something that is of value, something that is really good quality, because if you're not offering something that's of value, then you're investing your money in the business, but nobody's patronizing you. You're not making any revenue. You're not making any profits. All right, guys, so that brings this video to an end. I hope you enjoyed my recommendations for investment options that will help your money make even more money for you. I hope that once you finish watching this video, you're not just going to leave your money sitting in a bank and hoping that your money will grow, because it will not, and praying that you're not going to touch it because you're going to touch it. You need to go out, you need to diversify your investment options. And please leave a comment and let me know, are there other investment options that you guys know about that are profitable, that are safe, that are legit? Please leave comments and let me know. Have you also struggled with money habits and extravagant lifestyles? How have you managed to kind of curb your excesses? I would really want to hear from you guys. But thanks so much for watching this video. Subscribe if you're not, and see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.